If you're waiting for bare aisles to call it an emergency, the clock has already been running for weeks. You can still walk into a supermarket today and see rows of food, bright lights, and carts rolling, yet something feels different, doesn't it? Prices jump, sale signs vanish, and the brands you relied on quietly shrink their portions. And the part nobody says out loud is what happens next. The earliest stage of a long squeeze is not emptiness. It's the slow switch from I choose to I settle. You buy whatever is left, whatever is cheaper, whatever fits a tighter budget, and you tell yourself it's temporary. But temporary has a habit of becoming normal. Here's the real danger. A kitchen can look full while a body runs on fumes. People keep eating, but the meals stop doing their job. Energy dips, muscles soften, recovery takes longer. You don't collapse from one missed dinner. You slide day by day into depletion. And that slide is easy to ignore until it's hard to reverse. This isn't a video for panic buyers. It's not an apocalypse fantasy, and it's not a call to hoard mountains of food you'll never use. It's for people who still want normal life, work, errands, family dinners, but also want a quiet plan that keeps them steady if instability drags on. Because the next problem is not, can I eat today? It's, can I keep eating next week without my strength falling apart? So we're counting down 10 practical items that act like stabilizers. They aren't luxury foods. They aren't about perfect nutrition. They are about preventing the slow breakdown that hits when costs climb, routines get interrupted, and the supply you assumed was reliable starts acting unpredictable. And item number 1 is the one most people overlook until it's too late. Before we start, ask yourself one thing. If your regular groceries suddenly cost 30% more, what would you cut first? Would that choice quietly remove protein, fats, and minerals your body depends on? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we move. 10. Canned meat. No, it's not the dinner you dream about. When fresh chicken is affordable and the fridge hums all night, almost nobody reaches for a metal can with excitement. But in messy weeks, extended outages, storms, broken deliveries, fresh meat turns from normal into risky. And risk is a luxury your body can't afford when it needs protein. Canned meat is the blunt, reliable answer to a specific problem, keeping muscles and immune strength from draining away when cold storage is uncertain. No freezer dependence, no last-minute store run, no fancy recipe. Open, eat, move on. The payoff is not taste, it's continuity. The common trap is treating it like a full replacement and living on big portions for days. That can backfire. Too much salt, appetite burnout, and that heavy ugh feeling that makes you skip meals. And skipping meals is how the slide begins. Use it like a tool. A small amount becomes the protein center that turns rice, noodles, or beans into a real meal. Stretch one can into 2 servings. Mix, don't binge, because the goal is staying functional, not proving you can suffer. If the power went out tonight and stayed out by day 3, what protein would you still trust? Keep that answer, because it points to what your pantry is missing. 9. Dry noodles. Most crises don't defeat you with dramatic hunger. They wear you down with endless tiredness. Heat that won't quit, cold that won't break, no sleep, no easy routines. When you're drained, even deciding what to cook feels like lifting a weight. And that mental load is what snaps people. Dry noodles exist for the I can't think day. A little hot water, a few minutes, and you have calories you can actually swallow. Minimal cleanup, minimal planning. One decision instead of 10. That simplification is underrated survival. The mistake is eating noodles alone as the whole plan, day after day. Energy spikes, then crashes. Hunger comes roaring back, and your mood follows it. That's the spiral you want to avoid.
So treat noodles as a base, not a finale. Add a spoon of oil, a bit of canned fish, an egg when you have it, or a small portion of canned meat. Now you have steadier fuel and fewer cravings. Small upgrades, big effect. Another advantage, noodles can cook with less water than many grains, and in a pinch, they still soften in merely warm water. That matters when water is limited or heating is hard. And when water is hard, everything else gets harder too. Would you rather spend your last daylight hours thinking about recipes or solving the real problems outside the kitchen? Noodles buy you that time. 8. Beans, dry or canned. When budgets tighten, meat usually doesn't vanish first. It becomes special. Prices climb, packages shrink, and suddenly you're buying less without noticing. History is clear. Long shortages turn everyday meat into an occasional treat. So what carries people for months? Beans. Beans are not flashy, but they are steady.
Salt also supports cooking and preservation, but its underrated value is keeping your body from tipping into that fragile state where simple tasks feel impossible. Have you ever felt wiped out, even though you ate something? What if the real missing piece wasn't calories at all? That question can change how you prepare. Store salt dry, keep packets in a cool place, and treat them like a rescue switch, not a habit. The goal is balance, because once balance goes, everything else becomes harder, and hard times don't need extra difficulty. 4. Honey. Honey isn't here to stuff you full. It's here for the moment when both your body and your mood dip at the same time. In long stress, people often fall apart mentally before they truly run out of food, and that mental drop can be dangerous. A small spoon can provide quick energy without the harsh spike some candy brings. Mixed into warm water or tea, it can steady trembling hands and clear the fog just enough to get through the next few hours. For many older adults, that gentle lift matters when a full meal feels impossible. Sometimes you don't need more food, you need a small anchor. There's also a psychological benefit nobody writes on the label, the feeling of I can still care for myself. That simple comfort helps you keep routines, and routines protect you during instability. Break the routine, and everything slides faster. The mistake is using honey as a snack substitute, eating big amounts and skipping real meals. Honey supports weak moments, it doesn't replace the basics. Use it strategically, small doses, timed with exhaustion, stress, or low appetite. Think support, not dependence. Do you have a bridge food for those days when you can't cook, can't chew much, and still have to function? If not, what would you reach for when your energy drops mid-afternoon and the kitchen feels like a mountain? That answer matters. Honey stores easily, lasts a long time when kept sealed, and works even when everything else becomes complicated. It's not luxury, it's steadiness in a spoon, and steadiness is survival. 3. Canned fish. Fresh food is great until it isn't predictable. When trips to the store become irregular, when prices swing, and when refrigeration is uncertain, you need protein that doesn't care about the grid. Canned fish is built for that, and it works best before you feel desperate. Many people prefer it to canned meat because it's lighter, often easier to digest, and easier to portion. One can become 2 small meals when combined with rice, noodles, or bread. That flexibility keeps your eating rhythm alive. Fish also brings fats that many emergency diets miss, which can support satiety and steadier energy. The common mistake is treating canned fish like an emergency last resort and never rotating it into your normal meals. If you wait until you're already weak, it's harder to rebuild. Early use prevents late problems. Build a simple habit. Once in a while, make a meal where canned fish is the protein center. Learn which brands you tolerate, which flavors you actually like, and how your body feels after. That way, if supply gets weird, you aren't experimenting under stress. Stress is not the time to test. Which do you trust more? Tuna, sardines, salmon, mackerel, and why? Is it price, taste, digestion, or simply what you grew up eating? Your preference is part of your plan.
Canned fish is quiet insurance. It doesn't shout prepper. It just sits there, ready, keeping you steady when the outside world can't. And the quieter your plan is, the easier it is to stick with. 2. White rice. Rice isn't perfect nutrition in every situation, but during instability, it has saved countless households because it does one job extremely well. It feeds people cheaply, consistently, and for a long time. When supply chains wobble, staples like rice and pasta are often the first shelves to thin out. That pattern repeats for a reason. In a long squeeze, the biggest question isn't tonight's dinner, it's whether you can keep a reliable eating routine next week, next month, while prices climb and choices shrink. White rice is a foundation for that routine. It's easy to buy in bulk, easy to store dry, and easy to eat even when stress kills appetite. Easy matters. For long storage, white rice often keeps better than higher oil whole grains, which can go rancid faster. Spoiled food doesn't just waste money, it adds frustration and mental strain. A stable staple reduces that pressure, and less pressure means better decisions. The mistake is calling rice empty and ignoring its role. In hard times, you don't need perfect, you need dependable calories you can pair with protein and fat. Rice plus beans, rice plus canned fish, rice plus a spoon of oil. Simple combinations that keep you standing. Standing is the goal. If supplies were disrupted today, how many normal days could the rice you already have support? And would that number surprise you, in a good way or a bad way?
They provide repeatable protein and fiber that keeps you full longer than you expect. They also tolerate repetition. Your body can handle them day after day without the same burnout you get from salty processed foods. That ability to repeat matters more than flavor. The sneaky danger in a drown-out squeeze is quiet hunger. You eat, but you're missing enough protein, and week by week, strength fades. Stairs feel steeper, you bruise easier, you get tired faster. That's the slow collapse. Beans interrupt it. A modest scoop with rice or noodles can keep your body from sliding, even when meat is rare. Dry beans are the long-run option. Canned beans are for the exhausted day when cooking feels impossible. Different tools, same mission. Do you treat beans as a side or as a real backbone food you can depend on? And if you had to cut your meat intake in half tomorrow, what would replace it in your meals? Your answer decides whether you stay steady or start slipping. 7. Cooking oil. Here's a weird truth. People can be eating daily and still get weaker fast. They have rice, noodles, vegetables, even some beans, yet they feel hungry again an hour later. They're foggy, they're tired. Often the missing piece isn't food quantity, it's fat. Oil is concentrated energy. A small spoon adds the kind of calories you'd otherwise need a pile of carbs to match. When meat and dairy become expensive, that density becomes the difference between I'm okay and I'm constantly starving. And constant hunger drains your will. Oil also makes basic staples more edible. Without it, meals become dry, repetitive, and hard to finish, especially for older adults who can't handle huge portions. With it, small bowls become satisfying enough to last. That's stability. The common mistake is treating oil like an optional seasoning or cutting it to zero because you're thinking in diet rules. In an unstable period, the goal isn't a perfect health plan, it's keeping energy steady so you can function. Moderation, not elimination. Try this thought experiment. If your portions were suddenly cut in half, what would keep you fuller? Another scoop of rice or one timed spoon of oil stirred in with beans? The answer surprises people. Store it sensibly, rotate it, and use it deliberately. Oil is not indulgence, it's a lever. Pull it at the right moments and you extend your stamina. And stamina is what gets you through long problems. 6. Oats. Not everyone faces stress the same way. Some people still have food, but their stomach refuses heavy meals. Heat, anxiety, poor sleep, and age can make digestion fragile. At that point, the question changes from what fills me to what can I actually handle. That's where oats shine. Oats can be eaten hot, cold, or even dry in a pinch. They don't demand a complex setup, and they're gentle enough for days when chewing a full plate feels like work. Convenience is not laziness, it's resilience. Another edge, Oats release energy more slowly than many quick carbs. That helps flatten the crash and crave cycle, which matters when you can't cook 3 times a day. For many adults over 50, that steadier rhythm is gold. Less eating, longer lasting. Stability beats fullness. The mistake is thinking oats are only diet breakfast and leaving them for some future health kick. In a drawn-out squeeze, they become a flexible base. Add powdered milk, a drizzle of honey, or a small spoon of oil, and you get a light but sustaining meal. Tiny additions, big payoff. When you're exhausted, do you choose a meal that sits heavy and makes you sleepy, or something that fuels you without a fight? Your pantry should support the second option. Keep oats sealed, keep them dry, and rotate them like any staple. They aren't glamorous, but on the hardest days, they're often the food you can still face, and that matters more than taste. 5. Salt and electrolyte packets. Most people think collapse looks like empty plates, but many wipeouts start with imbalance. Heat waves, stomach bugs, stress sweats, irregular meals, your body can lose minerals faster than you realize. Water alone doesn't always restore what's missing, and the signs can look like ordinary tiredness. Low minerals can show up as dizziness, weakness, headaches, shaky hands, or that hollow, I can't get going feeling. Older adults are especially vulnerable during heat or when routines break. It's quiet depletion. Plain salt is cheap insurance, and electrolyte packets are a targeted tool for moments when you're drained, not eating much, or trying to recover after heavy sweating. Used correctly, they can help you feel steadier and more alert. The timing is everything. The mistake is turning electrolytes into a constant daily drink or assuming more is automatically better. In stressful periods, measured use matters. If you have medical conditions, follow your clinician's guidance. Smart prep is informed prep.